NewBrandDodge.com.
Fox 8 News, awarded Best Newscast in America. Fox 8 News, we investigate. Fox 8 News starts now.
Good evening, I'm Kim Holden.
And I'm Nancy Parker. We begin with breaking news tonight. New Orleans detectives investigate a homicide late this afternoon around 3:30. Officers found a man dead from gunshot wounds in the 400 block of North Rocheblave.
At this point, investigators have no other information about the incident. We'll bring you more as soon as we get it. New Orleans police just released surveillance video of a fatal Bourbon Street shooting early Saturday morning, and they're hoping it will help identify the people involved. One man is seen punching the victim. A second one shot 26-year-old Brandon Robinson, who later died at the hospital. If you have any information about the case, you're asked to call Crime Stoppers. A state senator arrested on a domestic abuse battery charge enters a not guilty plea through his attorney and says he can't remember the events leading to his arrest. Meg Gatto joins us with that story.
Senator Troy Brown didn't appear at municipal court this afternoon. His attorney and fellow state senator Ed Murray did to enter that not guilty plea. Brown was arrested Saturday night around 9:30 at the Hyatt Hotel. A police report says Brown, who is married, punched a woman described as his side friend of more than 10 years in the eye. Brown was taken to central lockup and posted a $3,000 bond Sunday morning. In a statement, Brown says he suffers from short-term memory loss due to an automobile accident in 1991 and can't remember the events of Saturday night. It's a sentiment echoed by both his attorney and public relations spokesperson.
He's remorseful because whatever happened should not have happened. He really does not recall what happened, but he's remorseful for the things that transpired.
He's making an appointment with a neurologist to see if those cognitive issues interacting with social drinking contributed to the fact that he can't remember.
Senator Brown was first elected to his Senate seat in 2011 and just won re-election last month. Kim?
All right, thanks, Meg. Police arrest 3 people in connection with the Slidell carjacking and suspect they could be tied to other carjackings in 3 parishes. Authorities arrested 18-year-old Perry Bridges along with a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old, all from New Orleans. St. Tammany authorities say Bridges is being held for possession of stolen property. They say he was involved in last week's carjacking of a Slidell woman on Pebble Beach Drive. Investigators found her stolen Lexus along with 2 other cars allegedly taken in New Orleans carjackings behind 2 vacant houses in New Orleans East.
A local businessman files a federal lawsuit against the Jefferson Parish Council and Council President Chris Roberts over an ordinance. Greg Buson's suit claims Roberts exceeded his authority. It contends he drafted an ordinance that intentionally targets Buson and his company's long-standing contracts with the parish. The ordinance forbids parish contracts with companies that also handle political campaigns. Buson's company has handled events for the parish's Convention and Visitors Bureau, Lafreniere Park, and Carnival events. The lawsuit contends a pattern of harassment by Roberts on Buson and his company, including a telephone threat. Buson's suit asks for damages and wants the ordinance declared unconstitutional. Chris Roberts says the ordinance only impacts contracts moving forward, not those already in place. Roberts says New Orleans has had similar restrictions for years. Darrin Sharper's sentencing on 3 rape convictions in Louisiana has once again been postponed. He had been scheduled for sentencing tomorrow in New Orleans, but that has now been pushed to December 16th. Sharper entered guilty pleas as part of a multi-state deal, which is expected to send him to prison for at least 9 years. The New Orleans City Council considers tighter age restrictions on children taking part in carnival parades. The ordinance on tomorrow's agenda would require children be at least 11 years old to ride on a float. The current ordinance says children must be 12 or older. Exceptions for pages, grand marshals, and celebrity guests still apply. The proposal also says each carnival organization can limit the ages of children who march in the parade. Currently, marching members are also supposed to be 12. There's no change to the minimum age for children in truck parades. That will stay at 3 years old. Losing can divide a locker room.
Thankfully, that hasn't happened with the Saints, though. Juan Kincaid joins us now with more.
Good locker room. Guys are working hard. Sean Payton is saying all the right things about his football team right now, but none of that has translated into a win in 4 weeks. And winning is all that matters right now for a Saints team that is still in the playoff hunt. even at 4-7. Sunday, the Saints were behind the 8 ball early, down 14-zip before they responded, but their offense struggled so much that Houston's 14 points were insurmountable. Today, Peyton was asked if he has to handle his players with kid gloves.
These guys are pros, and we really try to look closely at the technique, the specifics. You know, sometimes it's outside the receivers or the offensive line, the quarterback, and so we really try to look at the exactness of what we're trying to do. You know, the preparation, the want to, the desire. Those guys have been outstanding. I've said this before. This is a good locker room, and you know, we just got to be better at what we're doing, and we've got to look closely at, you know, eliminating some of the mistakes. If ones are being repeated, then evaluating those.
Got more Saints for you later in sports. We'll also talk Pelicans and former Salmon Spartan Chris Duhon making news for all the wrong reasons. See you in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Juan. Still to come, Fox 8 Saints analyst Jim Henderson joins us with his commentary. See why he says it's worth watching the Saints in the 5 remaining games.
Shell Chemical plans a $700 million expansion in Geismar. The company's new linear alpha olefins manufacturing unit will create 20 new high-paying permanent jobs, while the construction will generate 1,000 jobs. Alpha olefins are used to make many consumer products, including plastics and household detergents. Construction gets started early next year, and they expect the company to begin operations in 2018.
Pope Francis returns to the Vatican after holding perhaps the most significant meeting during his visit to Africa. As Kitty Logan reports, he met with Muslim refugees in the war-torn Central African Republic.
Pope Francis left Africa on Monday following a historic 5-day visit, highlighted by a 2-day stop in the war-torn Central African Republic. The Pope making an emotional visit to the capital's volatile Muslim neighborhood, bringing a message of peace and reconciliation.
Christians and Muslims and members of traditional religions have lived peacefully for many years.
The country has been divided by Christian-Muslim violence for 2 years, killing thousands and displacing more than 1 million people. Observers on the ground say the Pope is making a genuine effort to end the conflict, and it might work.
We need his message to bring people together, to rebuild social cohesion, to rebuild a kind of hope.
It's only when we have justice, love, and authentic mercy that peace can be guaranteed.
But the outcome is far from certain. The city's Muslim inhabitants are still facing a virtual blockade by armed Christian militias. Pope Francis insisted on coming to the Central African Republic despite the fragile security situation. And some residents say that powerful gesture creates a unique opportunity to push for peace.
We will forgive the Arabs. It doesn't matter. We will forgive them because of the Lord.
It is up to everyone to open their hearts to receive the message, to see how he can do it, to change the old vision.
While the focus of the Pope's visit was religious tolerance, he also touched on other issues such as poverty, corruption, climate change and poaching. In London, Kitty Logan, Fox News.
New details emerge about the location of a fugitive believed to have helped plan the Paris terror attacks. Why some say the attacks could have been much worse.
Plus millions of dollars of state hospital equipment with no record of where it is or how much it is worth. Why the legislative auditor says the problem does and does not lie with LSU Health.
On